executing a great pull isn't necessarily about creating absolutely as much propulsion as possible. In fact, it's actually about optimizing the amount of propulsion that swimmers can create within the context of the entire stroke. Ironically, if swimmers are focused on creating too much propulsion, they can actually swim slower. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. We're going to talk about the difference between optimizing propulsion and maximizing propulsion. And typically, where this is seen most often is during the finish of the stroke. A mistake swimmers often make is trying to get every little last bit of propulsion out of each stroke, and that actually ends up ruining the rest of their stroke, and they go slower as a result. So we'll take a look at what that looks like and the consequences of trying to get too much propulsion out of each stroke so that you can help your swimmers better understand what they need to do in order to swim as fast as possible. Now, if a swimmer wanted to go as fast as possible, it would make sense that they would try to pull back as far as possible, right? Let's check out what this Olympic champion is going to choose to do. Now, if we watch the back of the stroke, if he wants to get as much propulsion as possible, he should finish with the arm relatively straight. If we watch, though, what he's going to do is his elbow stays bent, and he pretty much just picks it up at that point. So why is that the case? So if he got to here and he continued to push back, he could probably get more propulsion with each stroke. We'll watch the same thing on the other side. You can see the elbow stays bent, and then he just kind of pulls it out. And if we watch the other side, we can see the same thing happen. The elbow's bent there, and he just kind of pulls it out. So why is he doing that? Well, if he pulled back and extended the elbow all the way here, he could probably get some more propulsion. However, then his arm is going to completely come to a stop. It's going to be much more difficult to recover the arm over the water, and that's going to really slow him down. His stroke rate's going to be a lot slower, and it's going to take a whole lot more energy to do that. So instead of maximizing the amount of propulsion he's going to create, he's going to try to optimize it. And if we watch here, when he pulls right there, he's got his elbow squeezed to the body by that point. He's going to have used the strongest muscles of the upper body, the pecs and the lats. And so at this point, he's going to have less and less surface area facing backwards, and he's going to have to extend the arm with the triceps alone. So it's not going to be particularly effective. He can get a little bit more propulsion, but most of it's coming from here to there, and then he's just going to be able to get a little bit more if he tries to finish the stroke completely. And so he's going to have to use a smaller surface area to make that happen. He's going to have to use smaller muscles to make that happen, and he's going to lose all his hand speed. So what he might gain is going to be relatively small, but what he's going to lose is going to be huge because he's not going to have the hand speed. He's going to have to pick his arm up out of the water, and it's going to take a lot more time to get back into the next stroke. So again, it's about optimization, not maximization, because if he tries to maximize propulsion, he'll actually go slower because of the impact on the recovery. Now, this isn't just a distance swimming thing. So if we watch here, you can see elbows bent coming up out of the water. Elbows bent there, and he's not extending it all the way back. Elbows bent, and then he's recovering from there. And so he's not going to extend fully at the back of the stroke. He's going to keep the elbow somewhat bent, and then he's going to recover from that position. And that's going to help him, especially in a sprint. He needs to recover the arms fast. And because they're recovering with such effort, he needs to use as much of the momentum of the arm to get the arm over the water and to get the arm over the water fast rather than pulling it over the water. So again, not finishing the stroke there. He's still getting a ton of propulsion out of it because he squeezed his arm to the body. Now he's going to lose the surface area, and he's going to have to extend with the tricep, the back of the arm. Again, small surface area, small muscles. It's not going to create a lot of propulsion, so he's not missing out on that much, but he's going to do it in a way that allows him to recover so much faster and so much better. So again, optimization rather than maximization. Because it's a principle, it doesn't just necessarily apply to freestyle. Same thing happens here in butterfly. Elbows are bent, and she's recovering them, and they only extend straight once she recovers them over the water. And it's probably even more true in butterfly because if she extends her arms here underwater, then she's going to have to whip both those arms out of the water with no momentum at the same time and try to recover the arms. If you swim butterfly, you know it can be challenging enough to get the arm recoveries at high speeds and hold those throughout. And so she's doing everything she can to get as much help through those recoveries as possible. Could she get a little bit more propulsion out of it? Yeah, probably. She can extend the arms back a little bit further, but just like with freestyle, the elbows are already squeezed into the body. She's already done the work with her pecs and her lats. All that's left is the triceps, and she doesn't have much surface area to work with left. So if she were to finish the stroke, she'd get a little bit more propulsion, but she'd be giving up so much, she's choosing to keep the elbows bent through the finish, not fully finishing the stroke so that she can recover the arms more effectively. And so again, just as with freestyle, it's about optimizing the amount of propulsion that's created rather than maximizing the amount of propulsion that's created in the back of the stroke. And just like with butterfly, the same thing's going to happen with breaststroke, but probably even more extreme because of the underwater recoveries of the arms. And so she's going to basically squeeze the arms into the body here versus just totally back. So if she wanted to, she could pull back further than that, get the hands down closer to her hips. But if she does that, she's got to bring those hands all the way back up the body. That's going to, one, take forever. Two, it's going to slow her down so much because of the drag that she creates, and it's going to make it that much longer before she can create propulsion with the legs and with the arms again. And so it's absolutely critical to optimize the breaststroke pull rather than maximize it. If swimmers try to pull back absolutely as far as they can, it's going to make it so much more difficult to recover the arms, and they're not going to get that much more propulsion. And so she's already pulling back pretty far. So she's pulling back right there, and then she's squeezing in. If she tried to keep pulling back, she's not going to get that much more. She's going to lose the surface area that she needs, and she's kind of run out of muscle to contract. And they've already pulled the arms to the side. She can't really pull them back further. And so she'd get a little bit more propulsion, but she'd give up so much in terms of recovering the arms under the water and having to do so over a longer distance. So again, it's not about maximizing the propulsion in each pull, it's about optimizing it. And of course, the more propulsion swimmers can create, the faster they're going to go, but that comes more from setting up the stroke more effectively, executing the main part of the pull more effectively, not just extending the duration of the pull. And so the more that swimmers can learn how to time everything correctly to transition smoothly between different components of the stroke, the faster they're going to swim. And rather than maximizing propulsion, it's all about optimizing propulsion. If you want to learn more about the propulsive skills and all of the strokes, check out the video below.